Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Aliens and Angels podcast. So this is our weekly live Q&A community chat group, and the subject today is, are alien abductions man-made? So why would I ask that? Well, we've heard about the experiences of abductees who are taken to deep underground bases, deep underwater bases, and to medical type craft with American military presence. So it makes us wonder if these abductions are somehow man-made, or at least some of them. Please post your questions and comments during the live chat. You're welcome to join our Facebook group called Aliens and Angels. And all of the links are featured below in the description. So please do check me out, subscribe to my channels, leave me a comment, like my videos, and share my content with your friends. So good to see everybody today. And without further ado, yeah, so we've got another fascinating subject to get into today. And I want to make myself clear. When I talk about abductions, I'm talking about beings coming and getting you and taking you against your will. It's usually a very frightening experience, at least in the beginning. It often happens to young children, starts when they're very young, maybe 3 or 4 years old, and continues throughout people's lives. Sometimes it only happens to people as far as they remember as adults. And sometimes it's accompanied by memory loss and only vague sort of symbols or ideas about what happened. It can include missing time. And there's so many different accounts of this phenomenon. And I would say there are as many different accounts as there are people who are having these experiences. And it's a lot to sort of sort out, at least it is for me. And oops, excuse me, just going to say hi to Don Rogers at March 4th Productions and Canadian Spinja. Thank you for joining me today. Lovely to see you. And yeah, thanks so much. And feel free to post your comments or your opinions or your observations or anything you like in the live chat, and I'll display them on the screen and we can add you to the conversation. And that goes for anybody else who comes to join us today. So, getting back to these abductions. So, I would say I've heard a lot of different accounts, and I would say that often um, they involve, like I mentioned in the introduction, being taken to deep underground bases, to being taken to underwater bases, and being taken aboard these sort of medical ships that are um, outfitted with examining tables and different kinds of machinery or technologies for doing certain things to the body. Usually people are put into kind of a trance state so that they're not able to run away or lash out at the beings. And usually it's a very, very disempowering and very deeply frightening experience for most people. Now, some people who started as abductees when they were children, like Dolly Saffron and Nancy Thames. Over time, they were sort of taking care of one adult female being who they refer to, which is interesting because neither one of them had met each other. They were both on my show on a panel together. And we discovered that both of them had very similar experiences where this adult female being called herself mother, and she would care for the psychology of the children being abducted to reassure them, comfort them, whatever they needed. And as time went by, they later no longer saw their experiences as being abductions. They saw their experiences as being part of a bigger plan where they were being included in some kind of a program to improve our reality, our three-dimensional reality here on planet Earth, to spare the planet from possible catastrophic events, for helping educate humanity, different things like that. But there are also accounts by whistleblowers saying that all of these events are staged and they are done by, I don't know, secret organizations, certainly nothing we would ever know about ordinarily if we hadn't done a lot of research. And that, and then they say that the beings, and I'm going to refer to them as stereotypical grays, because there's also so many different accounts of different kinds of grays. So, so on the other hand of the spectrum, one end of the spectrum are people that are abducted by grays, experimented on, or even given adventures and education into their culture and their intentions. And then on the other end of the spectrum is the accounts of whistleblowers who say the whole thing is staged and that the American military or possibly global or different nation militaries are also involved. There's some whistleblowers who claim that they're taking children, human children who were born terribly disfigured or deformed at birth, and doing plastic surgery on them and altering their appearance to make them look like aliens. And then they're just kind of used as actors and just staging for these events. There's also accounts of the military working hand in hand with the stereotypical grays, and the goals are unknown. And this has been confirmed by reputable remote viewers and also whistleblowers. So it's really hard to know what the heck is going on. And then to throw into the mix, another thing that I find confusing is apparently there's like 100 different kinds of stereotypical grays. So Whitley Strieber talks about the kind that he wrote about in his book Communion, where they don't have the same eating and excreting accessories that human bodies have, and they excrete this horrible stinky slime out of their skin that they have to scrape off and that they smell very terrible. There's other eyewitness accounts and whistleblowers who talk about how all the grays that they're discussing have a terrible smell like rotten meat. There's also whistleblowers who say that some of these grays are a combination of biological, I don't know, android, for lack of a better term, where they're actually not sentient beings. They just are like androids, but they're put into flesh suits. And that might account for the horrible smell that some people talk about. I know this is really gross and TMI, but I'm just trying to give all sides of the story as I understand it. And then together, maybe we can figure out what's actually going on. Oh, I just want to stop for a minute in the chat and say hi to BJ's Misadventures. Hi, welcome back. Good morning. And no, all good. You're actually here pretty much on time. And Don Rogers at March 4th Productions says, I am still at the stage of my recall that where I am sorting out what is recall of transdimensional experiences, what has happened here for real, and what happens in the astral. Oh, that's such a good point, Dawn. It's such a good point because as you and I both know, because we've had transdimensional experiences, that sometimes it's hard to tell what is what and which is up and which is down. And because we don't necessarily on a three-dimensional intellectual, psychological perspective really know the whole story. We're just trying to figure it all out. And I think it's really wise that you take your time and try to sort it out. And probably you'll end up writing a book, as I'm writing mine, about my experiences so that you can share that it's more detailed and more intricate and more overlap than what we've previously been told. So each person who gives their experience, they're actually giving their experience. Oops, I got to sneeze. So if I sneeze, don't just pardon me. Oh, there it is. No, excuse me. Oh my gosh. I should have muted for that, but I wasn't on the ball enough. So anyway, there's all these experiences, grays that smell bad, grays that don't, grays that are friendly, grays that appear very cruel and cold, grays that seem to be lacking emotion, grays that seem to have compassion. Often the things they have in common is they are transported people, humans or abductees, I should say, are usually transported somehow interdimensionally because they're able to pass through the ceiling, walls, windows, things like that. And another thing they have in common is often they're in a bit of a state of stasis where they can't move and they can't get away and they can't fight back, which is horribly upsetting. And then there are all kinds of whistleblowers who talk about um, how the governments here on Earth, secret parts of the government, are working with different species of what I will call space aliens, not just the Greys. And so, really, how do you know what the heck is really going on? We can base our assumptions on our own experiences. We can listen to what other people are saying, but how do we know what's really going on? So I'm reading out the comments for those of you who are on audio and don't have access to the video so that you can so I'm not just out of the blue answering questions. You get an idea of what the questions actually are, and that way it's more inclusive to everybody. So Don Rogers at March 4th Productions adds, in all encounters, there are humans, but also ET, some good and some bad. And like I said, I would totally agree with that. So overall, I don't believe that the aliens or extraterrestrials are hostile, because if they were, they would have made that clear a long time ago. And we've had these experiences represented in cave art or cave, they call them paintings. I'm not sure how they embed the information into the actual rock. In ancient writings as far back as the Sumerians and the oldest of old cultures, the indigenous cultures. I think the only ones really late coming to the table is Western civilization. But and then there's also the whole concept of technology, which is progressing so insanely quickly. I mean, I didn't get my first cell phone until, I don't know, I guess I guess around 2010, which is 14 years ago. And since then, technology's just exploded. So, if it's not the governments involved, certainly there are all kinds of technology companies. We could loosely call them the industrial military complex, who I'm sure have the best scientists and the latest research and the latest information. to add to the mix. And so there's that whole component as well. So getting back full circle to the beginning of this discussion, my question is, are some abductions man-made? Are humans actually initiating and spreading a fear campaign? Why would they do that? Well, for several reasons. For one thing is people who are afraid or terrified are much easier to control, shuts down the critical thinking areas of the brain, and we are sort of reduced to more fight or flight, and we're just easier to control. There's that. There have been rumors from, I don't know, Werner von Braun and many, many others who have alluded to or clearly stated that there will be a false alien invasion. And Dr. Stephen Greer addresses that issue quite a lot in his different discussions and in his lectures. And so they want us to be terrified and thinking that we're being abducted. And the other thing is the sheer number of people reporting abductions. There's millions of people. This is not a rare event. You know, this is not just a few tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists talking this way. These are a lot of people who don't even necessarily come out and tell their stories because they're so unbelievable. They're so terrifying. They don't want to relive the trauma. They're not able to get the kind of care and attention they need from the mental health industries or the medical industries or even their pastoral well, I'm going to say industries. And so there's a lot of people who remain in the closet, and then there's a few brave souls that come out, lecture, write books about their experiences and their findings around these experiences. And Philip Kinsella is one of these brave souls, and he's very intelligent, sensitive, and intuitive man. He's actually going to be on the show next week. So I'm hoping you all mark your calendars, June 30th at noon Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And Philip will be here. And we're going to be talking about, well, the main theme is, are aliens and angels the same thing, or are they completely different? And why do we think so? So please do come back next week, next Sunday, and join us and get to hear what Philip has to say. Share your comments and be part of the discussion. I think it'll be really, really interesting. But anyway, Philip is another one of these people who had this abduction experience. And it wasn't just he alone. His identical twin brother, Ronald, also shared in the experience. But then they had some other paranormal and off-world experiences that included their grandmother, and I believe even other members of their family. So I think that's really, really interesting. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go to the live chat again. And here's Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. Welcome back. Hi, nice to see you again. Let me know in the chat if you missed anything. Well, I guess you wouldn't know if you came in late, but if I could go over the topic again. The topic is, are abductions, alien abductions, is there a man-made component to this? Or is there the possibility that humans are trying to frighten other humans with an agenda? Could our military or industrial military complex be working with different races of aliens? And, what are your thoughts, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot? How do you see that as going on? Like I said, many, many people mention human presence in their experiences, being transported to deep underground medical sites, all kinds of things. And really, there's, like, as I mentioned before, as many different experiences as there are people telling the stories. So it's really hard to know what is going on. Another thing I want to throw in the mix is, the grays are only one sort of physical representation of beings that are either from outer space, off world, Or perhaps they've been here for thousands of years, living under mountains or in the depths of the ocean on bases. Maybe they've been observing us for a long time. And then again, there's the interdimensional or transdimensional beings. There's a lot to consider here. It's not a simple black and white situation, not at all. And then there are so many other um, races of aliens that we hear about as well. So we hear about, tall whites and reptilians and, oh, I don't know, people with beings with feathers and Pleiadians and beings that look like us. And like, how are we supposed to know what's going on? It's a bit crazy making. And then you add that there's tons and tons of actual visual footage of orbs and different shapes of craft that can do impossible things as they travel, which leads us to believe that they are off-world or non-human origins. But then there's also much talk about all the crash sites and then the industrial military complex retrieving these vehicles and reverse engineering them. So it's just getting crazier and crazier. And in the meantime, NASA's saying, oh, nothing to see here, folks, nothing going on. And the government, even the different groups that are supposed to be exposing the truth and finding out if there's a threat to our collective or individual national securities. They don't know what's going on. And the people that seem to know what's going on keep saying, oh, I can't tell you that information unless we're in a secure location and we can't tell you publicly. So, yes, Tennessee. Let's take a look at this. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. Good point. Our clan of Bigfoots do not like ETs generally. For the races that had genetically modified them and messed up their family. But of course, there are good ETs. Our clan is only one view's point. Yeah, I hear you. But that's another interesting concept, is that of cryptids. I know people who personally seen them, met them even. I've seen enough evidence to believe in cryptids, but it never occurred to me that cryptids would also have their perspective that they've been genetically modified, possibly abducted by alien races as well. So, if anyone who's being taken against your will and terrified and put into a form of stasis and had memories wiped and all of that, that is not kosher. That is not fair play, you know? And I believe that all beings in all realities answer to source. There's a spiritual component to all of this. And I don't think they're going to develop much good karma in doing such things. And I see no reason why we can't be educated. Those of us who are more grounded and not afraid of this topic, why can't we get educated? So, by the aliens or by the other beings. Let's see. Don Rogers, March 4th Productions. He says, I was in awe of the collective shrug or the meh when they admitted in Congress that UFOs or UAPs are real. Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's what I was saying. So, how are we supposed to know what's going on? So it doesn't help us to transcend the fear and the confusion by, nobody really knowing what's going on. Now, I for myself have had extraterrestrial experiences. My experiences have been very positive, and they have included a lot of education and a lot of understanding on what are the origins of humankind, where are we headed, what's our next stage of development, what's expected from us, and that we're given free will and free choice as to whether or not we want to develop to that point. And I'm putting it all together in a book because it's very detailed. From time to time, depending on the topic, I'll read excerpts from my book. It's not published yet, but I'm happy to share the information with you. But that's a very different experience. That's a transdimensional experience. And for those of you who are interested in the whole phenomenon of the transdimensional experience, I really recommend you check out my other show called The Quantum Guide Show. So Don Rogers and Canadian Spinja are two people on my panel, along with Stephen Stathis from BG Cast and also Jennifer Halkame. And we're discussing is do we live in a simulation? And if we do live in a simulation, what are the parameters of that? And more importantly, how can we harness the simulation to make it work for us? And I think this is something that is very basic and foundational for us to consider before we start forming working theories or beliefs around aliens and extraterrestrials. And as has been found out by is well documented, humans have the ability to go into certain states of consciousness where we're able to slip out of time and space, and we're able to go into the collective consciousness and experience all kinds of amazing things that were never thought possible before, and then to come back. And through our powers of observation while we're there, we actually anchor that into a reality framework because we truly are co-creators with Source. Now, as far as some of these alien beings that are doing abductions are considered, I wonder if they have the ability to co-create, because if they did, they wouldn't be doing things the three-dimensional way at all. And so that doesn't make much sense to me either. Just going to take a look. Okay, we got another comment here from Rhea F. Are we all contactees and some are abductees? Oh, thank you for joining us and good question. So as I outlined at the beginning of the show, I hope those of you who came in late will go back and watch the replay. I'm talking about in this particular episode, abductees and not contactees. Now, I'll just quickly give you my take on this. An abductee is someone who's taken against their will. They did not consent to it. Sometimes it involves interdimensional travel through the roof or the walls or through glass planes. And they end up being somehow taken and levitated to ships. Um, and their experiences are very frightening, and they can't move. They can't even really move their eyes. They can only see out of the corners of their peripheral vision. And clearly, that is an abductee. That person has been abducted. Sometimes, though, abductees become contactees as they understand the process more and find that the beings that are abducting them have more of a benevolent overall purpose. And then there's some of us who are clearly contactees, where we agree to the process, where it's not done in a frightening scenario. We have free will, whether we want to have contact or not. We can shut off contact if we want. Often we end up down the road, if not in the beginning, being part of the CE5 movement. So CE4 would be contact initiated by the beings, and CE5 would be contact initiated by us. So it really all depends. But today we're sort of slicing and dicing all the different aspects of the topic of abductees by what we perceive as aliens. Some are space aliens, some are for what we would consider stereotypical grays that actually live here and have been here for thousands of years, and some might even be interdimensional. So that's sort of just to set you the framework of what we're talking about here. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says, on your question, my guess, there is government ET programs that want to cloud the water, get man afraid of ET, Bigfoots, etc. as there are bad players in all areas of species, but not the majority. And I would absolutely agree with that. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot also says media is bending the truth with its reach. I agree with that too. So there seems to be agenda that underlies agenda that underlies agenda. Some of it, I'm sure, is psychological experimentation to see what we humans can cope with, how we react to things. Some of it might be to, as I mentioned before, create fear because then we're easier to manage. Some of this might be to set up the false alien invasion that is a hoax that's being perpetuated on humanity for God knows all kinds of different reasons. Or they might actually be in cahoots with some of the alien races where they're sharing understanding, learning, technology in exchange for live people and bodies, which I consider that a very nefarious agenda. And if that's going on, and it might well be, that's got to stop because that's total violation of our human rights and also international and universal being rights and spirituality. And it just on so many levels, it's just malevolent. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says, BJ are doing good. Life is good here in Tennessee for this time. Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear that. And BJ's Misadventure says, great to see that. Things here are more or less the same. Warmer weather here in BC lately, of course. It's summer, LOL. Oh, speaking of the weather, we've had a frost warning out just last week, but it does seem to be warming up here too. So quite a few of us are actually in Canada. Don Rogers at March 4th Productions, Canadian Spinja, myself, BJ's Misadventures. We're all from Canada, but we also love our American brothers and sisters and big feet and benevolent beings of all kinds as well. And again, it's good to have you, Rhea F. Welcome. So, yeah, BJ's Misadventures, he asks, yeah. Oh, Rhea, you're from Canada too. Oh my gosh, we're getting quite a Canadian contingency happening here. That's lovely. Lovely. I'm going to do a very brief promotion video now, and it's only less than 2 minutes long, so please bear with. And then we're going to come back and expand the conversation a little bit further. Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not Hi guys, break time for a short message. YouTube will not monetize me, so if you enjoy my content and want to support my efforts, help me to cover my expenses by visiting my shop to buy yourself a beautiful orgone generator. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand, and they are ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. Many people are finding comfort with Zendome's orgone generators, commonly called Orgonite. They are a simple compound which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy with many easily confirmed health benefits. They are a simple compound with alchemic and energetic properties. These devices function as self-driven, continuously operating, highly efficient, negative to positive energy transmutation factories. They help diminish the harmful effects of electromagnetic frequency radiation by attracting and converting negative energies, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. And they help to purify the atmosphere and accelerate plant growth. They also help stimulate positive mood and are a natural remedy for poor sleep patterns. When orgonite is within range of any corded or wireless electronic device, it will efficiently and continuously transform that energy into orgone as it is being transmitted. This essentially creates orgone energy transmitters out of any and all emitters of harmful negative energy. You can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and for spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show. Yes, those are my orgone generators. So this is important. If you want to check them out, please do visit my shop and check them out. And I want you all to know that we're going to be having a free giveaway in the near future. So I want to build up the chat a little bit more, the live chat during the shows a little bit more. And when we get a few more people, we're going to do a free giveaway. And in order to qualify for the giveaway, you need to be a member of my Facebook group called Aliens and Angels, which I think you'll find it a great group to belong to. So much wonderful information and friendly people and low drama, but lots and lots of content to dig your teeth into. And then if you participate in the live during this podcast, we're going to have a free giveaway. So we'll have a contest. I'm probably going to use like a D20 dice or something, and I'll have an extra camera so you can see me roll the dice, and we'll assign it. Everyone will get to choose a number, say between 1 and 20, and then we'll roll the dice and see who wins. And for those who live in continental North America, I will provide the shipping, and I will ship out to you a nice little combination package. So as you saw on my video, whoops, I got it turned the wrong way around. There it is. You saw this. This is one of the small pyramids. It's got a clear quartz point and seed of life symbol on it. This particular one is made out of peridot. And I've got so many to choose from, but I also have pendants and wands. I'm having stickers made for my podcasts. And also I'll be including one of Canadian Spinge's handcrafted crochet items. And she infuses high vibration and positive energy into everything she makes. And I'll be putting it together in a nice little package. And maybe next week or the week after, I'll have an image to show you of the giveaway package once I have everything organized. And then I will be sending that out to you. So for our Canadian and American viewers, I will pay for the shipping. Now, if you live in Australia or England or another part of the world or off continent, like in Hawaii, you will be required to pay for the shipping because it's fairly expensive. And I'm already donating enough of my product to you. So if you want to see what I have available, I do have a shop on my website. And if you just want to wait and be surprised by what's in the package, that will be coming out very, very soon. So let's go back to the chat. BJ's Misadventure says, I have crystals that I use for meditation and chakra alignment. Well, that's fantastic to know because, people often underestimate the use of crystals. I understand them to be natural technologies that have been around even older than humankind, and they're here to help us. So what's interesting is the crystals we're attracted to naturally because of the color or the sparkle or the shine or just the energy they have. We intuitively know those are the best ones we need for our health. And for our health, we need to have our chakras aligned, and we need to be able to relax. And so they're very important, and they're not really woo-woo at all. They're scientific evidence. Crystals, each crystal emits its own frequency, its own vibration. And when we have them close to us, whether they're in orgone generators or on their own, they actually cause a sympathetic vibrational state or frequency within the body. And that's what facilitates the healing. So we've got natural crystals in our body fluids. That salts are an example of that. And you get them all resonating on the same frequency, and you can have some really amazing health benefits from it. Let's see. This is from BJ's Misadventures. Karen, you probably know my friend from here. She's into that kind of thing and has been to Calgary for training. Wonderful. I might. I know quite a few people. So I might well know them. But you want to know what, guys? The more we get to know each other, and trust each other and care about each other, the more we realize we're all part of one big family. And it's really cool to get to know you and to let you get to know me, and just to have this wonderful community that's expanding and getting stronger all the time so that we can be here for each other, because there's a lot of people that just don't understand this stuff. Let's just put it that way. No fault to their own. They just don't get it. And that's okay. But they cannot dictate our reality. But we can support each other's realities. So let's see. Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. My wife and family is British, lived in England for 4 years myself. I find the British Canadians are more into the truth, and the discussions are more open. Americans tend to be slow to talk as openly. That might be. There, it depends on where you're from in Canada too. I know that Western Canada, we're very much kind of in sync to the British Isles. Eastern Canada has more of an affiliation to France. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying it seems to be how it is. But we all have different cultures, and from that, we have, different ways of understanding things. BJ's Misadventures. I find British a snobbish about the real world stuff. They seem to be in their own world, being on an island. I don't know if I agree with that. I think there are open-minded and closed-minded people in every group. I think there are people who are naturally fearful when it comes to these topics, and that might be a protection. They may have had an abduction experience that they don't remember, and that might be kind of a somatized fear that lingers within them. That wouldn't surprise me either. So Don Rogers at March 4th Production says, hit that and share the feed to support Karen as well. Thank you. Thank you, Don, for mentioning that. Yeah, it would be great if you guys, when you come on the show, maybe send out an invitation on Facebook or one of the other socials, or let your friends know that we're going live. Invite them to come over and join us. And that would be great. And yeah, please do hit the thumbs up, because that helps me to get established. And as you may have noticed, I'm a small channel. And of course, YouTube, as I mentioned in my promotion, won't monetize me. It's not like I want a bunch of commercials on my show, but I would like to have memberships, channel memberships. I'd like to be able to take donations like super chats and things like that for those that are inclined to send them. That would help a lot, because there's a lot of incidental expenses that come with running a channel and a podcast and a website. But of course, you don't have to. Times are not that great for a lot of us financially. So, I'm just happy that you're here, and happy that you're here and that you're participating. And it just really is the highlight of my week. So let's see. BJ's Misadventure says, us Canucks are more open-minded. I think we have to be open-minded in order to survive. We live in such a interesting country with so much of it being hostile, and I'm talking about the winters. the winters, I mean, the West Coast, the southern West coasts are not bad, but the winters in Canada can be very long, very cold, very cruel. And life has been very strange here in Canada over the last, well, it's been getting weird for a while, but it's been especially getting weird since 2019. I'm not going to get into details. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot to mention. YouTube has considered my content as being dangerous content, and that's why they won't monetize me. And but I'm learning the tricks of the trade. Like for instance, I can speak from my own experience, but I can't set myself up as being an authority, especially on political or medical matters. And if there's a way of finessing around it. I just am very late to the show on learning how to do that. I tend to just say things as I see it. But yeah, so there's that too. So I have to be a little bit careful because I don't want my channel taken down, you know, and I like what we have. So let's see, we've got Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. He says, BJ, I can't talk fringe Bigfoot with Americans as easily as I can with the British. The British Europeans seem to be more open-minded. Yeah, I would think that might be because there is all kinds of folklore, the fairy folk, the little people. In, I think it's the Netherlands, they have these beings that are sort of invisible that do, make changes to the landscape and stuff. So I think they're more in tune with the paranormal. When it comes to North America, Canada, and the United States, these are nations full of people who've all immigrated here, and the Aboriginal people who had the folklore have been shut down in all kinds of ways that again I can't get into because of the YouTube algorithm. So that's about all I can say about that. BJ's Misadventure says, I have clear and white quartz and amethyst crystals. Yeah. Okay, so the quartz family, amethyst and citrine are also part of that family. They are the most powerful of all the crystals. So when you have clear quartz, it's so powerful, it clears all of your chakras. You can put it in your other crystals, it will clarify them and detoxify them. You can put your jewelry near them. You can wear them close to your body. You can put them in the bath. If you like to take a salty bath, it's a wonderful way of getting the frequencies to influence your body. White quartz is very similar to clear quartz, but it's a little more gentle. So those of you who are just feel, wow, clear quartz is just too strong a vibration for me, white quartz would be your next choice. And of course, amethyst is amazing pretty much for everybody, and it enhances your spiritual communication and your spiritual abilities. But amethyst is also highly beneficial for cats and dogs. So share them with your pets. Let's see. BJ's Misadventures. Her first name is Donna. I think you're referring to the person who went to Calgary for training, who's your friend there. I'm not sure if I know Donna or not, but I'm sure I'd like her if she likes crystals. Um, let's have a look at this. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says, BJ, I'm learning how to pair crystals with herbs and oils. That opens up lots of power. Still just started studying. Oh, that's fantastic. Because again, herbs and oils and crystals, they're all technologies that have been here for thousands of years. That's what our distant ancestors used for healing. They didn't go to the doctor. They used what was around them. And what's interesting is things are color coded. So when you find herbs and flowers and things that are medicinal, that are purple, they are enhancing the crown chakra. Same thing with amethyst. You can't go wrong. It's all color coded. So as soon as you know what your chakra colors are, you can just, whatever you're attracted to, you know that that chakra, that area of your health, needs some comfort. And we can do a show about that or maybe I'll do an independent show about that later on. So let's see. Don Rogers at March 4th Productions, upcoming summer barbecue in Alberta. Yes, thank you, Don, for reminding me about that. So we've already had a meetup here in Alberta, in central Alberta. Canadian Spenja and Don Rogers came up to Red Deer, which is where I live, and we hung out for an afternoon, and it was so lovely. Meeting people face to face is just really strengthens the community. So we want to have another one. I'm thinking around the end of August. If any of you are anywhere near central Alberta at that point, please do drop me an email, and it's in the links below. And let us know that you're going to be in this area, and we'll give you some direction on how you can come to our summer barbecue. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we can talk about all kinds of things. I'm even going to buy some huge big bolt of aluminum foil from Costco, and we're going to have a tinfoil hat making contest where we're all going to make our own tinfoil hats, because I have no problem with the tinfoil hat concept. And you just have to say tinfoil hat, and boom, everybody gets what you're about. And I think it's so cool. And I'm not afraid of that at all. Okay, we got another comment from BJ's Misadventures. I use them to align my spirit back in from the right planes after dreamscaping. Yes, crystals are really good for that too. Oh, we've got someone new just joined the show. Woo Riders DG. Hello. Sorry, my tongue. Woo Riders DG, lovely to have you. And I hope that you're able to watch the replay to catch up on what you missed out on. And let's see, Don Rogers at March 4th Productions says Canadian Spenja just bought citrine and amethyst in Drumheller yesterday. Yeah. And you can actually sometimes even find crystals that are both citrine and amethyst. It's called ametrine, are very cool. So citrine makes you happy and is very good for elevating your mood. And amethyst is very soothing to your body. And Canadian Spinge, I'm thinking to the get together, the meet and greet that we're going to have in August. She says, yes, please. And I think that I'm caught up now in the chat. So thank you, everybody, for your comments. It's been lovely. So before we go, I've got a couple of announcements. I already talked to you about Philip Kinsella being our special guest next week. Please do come back, invite your friends. Philip was an abductee, and he and his twin brother, and he went on to have amazing paranormal talents. And he's written several books, and he's just a real wealth of information. And the basic discussion for next week is, are aliens and angels the same thing? And of course, it all depends on your experiences and how you look at it. But we're going to talk about all kinds of things. So please do come back next week. Mark it on your calendar. That's June the 30th, 11 o'clock Pacific a.m., noon Mountain, and 2 o'clock Eastern. I want to tell you that this coming Wednesday, Quantum Guide Show, it comes out every Wednesday evening. But next week, we're actually going to go live. We're going to use StreamYard. And my guest is Gary May, and we're going to talk about how music heals the world. So if you think you might be interested in that, join us at noon Pacific, 1 o'clock Mountain, or 3 p.m. Eastern Time next Wednesday as we go live. With Gary May. I just want to also remind you about my free program available on my website, and I also have a playlist for it on YouTube and Rumble. I think on Rumble. Nope, not on Rumble yet, but I do on Odyssey. It's called Quantum Health Transformation. It's absolutely free. It's an in-depth 12 levels to the course. It's 9 steps, but it's divided into 12 lessons. It's everything you need to know to cope and progress in these late days. So it includes the first 3 steps are on how to open your mind and expand your thinking. The middle three steps are all about detoxification, how to detoxify your mind, your body, how to see the elements within your reality that are causing you to be more toxic, and how to detoxify so that you can um, um, have your body working properly so that you can have more interdimensional, transdimensional, and paranormal experiences, and certainly boost your intuition. And then the last three parts of the program are all about how to evolve spiritually, which includes all the paranormal stuff, manifesting, everything like that. And it's absolutely free. It's shareable. It's not copyrighted. You can download the information, you can share it, you can incorporate it into what you do. And I just wanted to remind everybody about that. I've already talked about our free giveaway that's probably going to happen next month. Please do watch the replay if you've missed out on any of the other announcements. And with that, before we say goodbye, I just wanted to turn it back over to the live chat. Do any of you have any thoughts, opinions, experiences to do with our alien abductions? Are they man-made or human initiated? Or are they partly human initiated along with extraterrestrials, or wow, I'm going to call them subterranean, deep under the ocean or under mountains, here on Earth beings? Um, are they 100% off-world alien initiated? What are your thoughts? What do you think is behind all of the abductions? And then do you agree with me or disagree with me that if they're true abductions, they are horrible, frightening experiences for people? And I don't think that is how higher beings should or would behave, because it doesn't help anything or anybody. And if we're just being viewed as cattle for scientific experimentation, or if we're being viewed even by the human powers that be, as a psychological operation to experiment on us, none of that is kosher, none of that is right. Everybody has their own karma, their own standing with source, their own accounting for the things they've done, and any other opinions that you may want to add or throw out into the mix. Don Rogers at March 4th Productions says, I think it's all of the above. That's why we can never say yes or no. It's all done to confuse us. And BJ's Misadventure says, that's true, Don. And you know what? I would agree with that too, guys. I think the number one agenda is to knock us off our center so that we're confused, so that we're not forming powerful coalitions and community with each other to foment fear and keep us preoccupied, stressed out. And in that way, the powers that be can run amok. And boy, are they ever. I've never seen so much political and social unrest as on the earth today. And I've been around a long time, guys. I was born in the 50s. So, it seems to be working, but we don't have to fall for it, do we? No, we don't. We know our worth. We know what's right. We know what's wrong. We know what we believe. Many of us are trading in our beliefs for working theories because, as we get more information, our beliefs are shifting, and it's kind of hard to budget belief, but it's pretty easy to adapt and change a working theory. So I recommend that everybody take a look at their beliefs and maybe trade them in for some working theories. Let's just see one more comment from Woo Riders DG. Sorry, Woo Riders. Woo Riders DG. Crypto terrestrials. Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the mix too. But you know what? I got to tell you guys, all the horrible things we've heard of, frightening stories of, crypto terrestrials or cryptids or aliens, nobody's done the kind of harm psychologically, mentally, physically, and spiritually as humans have to other humans. So that's something to think about. And so we kind of have to make the decision, the buck stops here and now, and we're going to be better people, and we're going to add to the peace and the harmony of the planet and share our beliefs respectfully with each other, because I don't think any of them are right or wrong. It all depends on your perspective. One more comment from Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. I grew a bunch of tobacco and traded for some turkey feathers, and then gave away lots of it because the tobacco is coming in strong and Earth just gives freely. And that is the love. That is the way, sorry, that is the love needs to come back. I would agree. And I think that's fantastic. I don't think anything of itself is right or wrong. I don't think that tobacco is wrong. In fact, it's been used by generation after generation of indigenous peoples for ceremonial, but also for medicinal purposes. The problem is when the big companies took over the tobacco production, started treating it with all kinds of chemicals. That's when the problems really started. I don't think anything is necessarily right or wrong, and it depends on the dose and how it's cultivated, and things that are grown with love, whether it's cannabis or tobacco, there's definitely a place for it. But the powers that be, the greedy bastards, they just want to make money off of everything that should be free and available to all of us. Okay, enough of my hippie ranting. That's it for the show today. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining me and each other. And I really look forward to getting to know you all better, and hope you'll come back next week for another live podcast, Q&A, and group discussion on aliens and angels. Don't forget to mark your calendar. Philip Kinsella will be our guest next week. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. A very special thank you to Andy Gambino and Anthony Exemplar from the Unidentified S4 channel for creating the beautiful introduction for this podcast. Until next time, keep up the good work.